What really obvious thing have you only just realized? I recently realized I was allergic to carrots. I just thought they made everyone's mouth numb. You know. Just like almonds. I also learned recently that I have an almond allergy. Same here. Thought that raw hazelnuts don't taste good. Because they give this weird tingle in your mouth. Found out I had a nut allergy when it suddenly turned from tingle to anaphylaxis and I ended up in hospital for eating nut chocolate. Super embarrassing, but in college I would order Roman Cokes because I heard everyone else ordering the same. Turns out I misheard everyone and found out it was just rum and Coke. A Roman Coke does sound like a great drink though. Valve released Steam. It took me a long time to realize the pun. Goddamn. That Jessica Rabbit is not a rabbit. But took Roger Rabbit's last name. That the division symbol, percent, is just a blank fraction with dots replacing the numerator and denominator. Well hell, all of these I read in this. This one got me. Mind you, I teach elementary school. Thank your lucky stars I don't teach math. This is going to make me seem dumb as hell, but I recently realized why pickles don't ever come fresh. Maybe not the way you're playing with them. I live in a part of Chicago called Greektown for 8 years and never realized the blue and white Christmas lights were meant to represent the colors on their flag. It just dawned on me today. I think Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord. I live in Denmark, so English is not my native language, and I just realized that weekend means the end of the week. The odd thing is that in the US, our calendars are arranged Sunday to Saturday. So it's sort of the weekend. But it's also the week beginning. It was a bit of a surprise when I moved to Denmark and saw calendars arranged Monday to Sunday. I thought astigmatism was astigmatism. So I thought you could have two stigmatisms. And I confused stigmatism with both stigma and stigmata. This girl I know has a dog named Deirdre. 2 years into knowing her and being around Deirdre, I was having a conversation with her sister-in-law and I said I love the name Deirdre. How did she come up with that? Her sister-in-law responds, Deirdre, and I said yay. It's a neat name. She started laughing and said no. D-O-G. Comma the way you spell dog. I'm still mind blown about this lol. The Grammys are called that because the awards are gramophones. Up. Now everything has sense now. When the kids catch their mom kissing Santa Claus, it is because Santa is their dad dressed up. Not because Santa and mom have a once yearly torrid affair. Yeah, I just realized this like last year lol. I just never rethought my understanding of it from being a kid. When I was little we had an Australian shepherd named Sydney. I didn't understand why her name was Sydney until 18 years later. I named my American Eskimo Juno. That big ship's wheel I got to turn as a kid was not actually controlling the cruise ship. Hide white. Today my friend realized pipe cleaners were originally for cleaning pipes. After I suggested using one to clean a metal straw because it's similar to a pipe. Oh. I had that one about 7 years ago when my stoner ass was trying to clean out a glass pipe. Man. This is so stupid. Someone should invent some sort of duck-in pipe cleaner. Oh. The first time I visited the USA I was on my own and in NY and going to all the museums. I kept seeing signs that said no strollers and though. Because we call strollers prams in the UK. That you guys are super strict about the proper amount of attention required to visit a museum. I actually pretended to show more interest than I had in order to be thought of as some deadbeat out for a casual stroll. It wasn't until about day 3 that I saw a no stroller sign that included a graphic for idiots. I'm a Brit who got sucked into a holiday job doing door-to-door sales for a MLM company in the US. All the doors with signs saying no solicitors confused me. As I was neither an attorney or a rent boy, I figured I was in the clear. Fortunately the local police took an afternoon out of my day to explain. I learned that allspice is actually one spice and not a blend of spices like cinnamon and nutmeg. And tasting it doesn't help disprove that theory. My highest rated comment after 10 years on Reddit posting every day is this. And after a few hours? Yeah, okay. I guess that's AskReddit for you. When I was a kid, my mom told me my rabbit Rosie went to live on a farm. In my early 20s I saw an episode of The Sopranos where everyone makes fun of Tony when he realizes his dog didn't really go to live on a farm. That's when I realized Rosie had not gone to a farm either. Edit. I would like to officially apologize for the cascading wave of terrible realizations my post has caused. Truly we sit on thrones of lies. Edit 2. It turns out a lot of animals really do get to go live on the farm from the responses here, so that's cool. If it makes you feel any better. I lived on a farm as a kid and took into rabbits. One of my mom's friends was sick of her kids having rabbits. So I got them. They lived a good life. I used to bring them all of the bud ends of any vegetables my mom chopped up, and I gave them a lot of ice cubes in the summer. They didn't like to be petted, but they seemed to like it when I read to them. That ponies aren't baby horses. I'm 35. Excuse me, what the duck? For the longest time, I always thought prima donna was prima donna. Me too. My mother would call me that and I thought she meant I was going to be a whore. The houses in Bikini Bottom are car mufflers. What the duck? For a long time I thought to bust a nut meant that you were going to kick a guy in the gonads or beat him up. So anytime I was getting worked up or angry talking about some guy, I would say I'm going to bust his ducking nut, not knowing the real meaning. Nobody ever said anything, but it was always followed by my friends laughing, so I assumed it was because I was being dramatic. Years go by and my coworker is telling me about some rude person he met, and I said you should definitely bust that guy's nut. To which he paused and said, do you even know what that means? Suffice it to say I was extremely embarrassed and horrified when he explained it to me. Edit. Oh wow. Thank you for the silver. Glad my first silver had to do with busting a nut. Peace. For those who were asking. To bust a nut where I'm from means to ejaculate everywhere or jerk someone else off. I had a boss that was under the impression that bust a nut meant to work extremely hard. Suffice to say our team meeting ended awkwardly when Sean would tell all of us to go bust a nut after the meeting. That to take off the plastic piece on top of deodorant you just simply twist the bottom a few times. LMAO. No. I must bite. My grandpa used to ask me when I was a kid if I could talk without moving my lips. Being a dumbass kid, I would always give it my best effort. And thought I was pretty good at it. 20 years later I realized the old bugger was just telling me to shut the duck up, haha. Too bad I can't let him know I finally figured it out. Edit. Thanks for the silver, kind stranger. I'm glad this hopefully got a chuckle out of some you. I know it always gave him a grin when I failed to figure it out. Have a great night everybody. Edit 2. Well, I'll be damned. First silver and gold, it's almost like Rudolph is playing. Bad holiday dad joke. Thanks you guys. I'm glad that it's this post that got some love. My family had something in a similar vein. My parents had 3 kids and we fought a lot. Especially during car trips. Whenever we would all be in the car for more than like 10 minutes. My mom and dad would put a dollar bill on the dashboard and say quiet game. Whoever was the last person to speak got the dollar. When I was a kid I thought it was just a fun game to play during car rides. I only recently realized that it was my parents' ingenious way of getting their annoying kids to shut the duck up for a car trip. That Michelangelo's David is David from David and Goliath. How did I not know this? I thought it was just dude called Dave. Edit. I love how many of you just learned this today or very recently. And just thought he was some dude called Dave too. We got there in the end, guys. Better late than never. Edit. I never knew there was a sling. I thought it was his trousers. Yes. I honestly thought that. Never saw the rocks. Edit. I'm gonna need some more Daves not here. Man comments before this post is complete. On a similar note. I'm 37 and only realized a few years ago that the David and Goliath David is the same David as King David in the Bible. Obviously not raised in church. I'm 30 and I realized a few months ago that howdy is cowboy for how do you do. Not me, but my husband just understood that Q is pronounced Q and not key. His mind was blown. I have to remind myself key is pronounced key, not quay, so this made me do a double take. That they put measurement stickers next to gas station doors so if a robber is running out of the store you can get a better estimate of their height. I always thought they were just there for something fun to do on road trip stops. More than that, they are not actually accurate if you stand against them and measure that way. They are supposed to be placed so the camera will show the correct height of the person, compensating for the angle of the camera. Oh, you want a freaking doozy? 4 years. I did not realize it was Mike Myers playing both Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. I don't know how I missed it, but it never twigged that it was the same actor. Felt like a right royal twat when that was pointed out to me. Thank you for being with me on that. I had seen the movie so many times before knowing. He also played Fat Bastard. Not me, but my sister asked me about 2.5 months ago when we were watching John Wick 3 during the desert scene. She asked me if they were real and I asked if what were real and she said sandlands and I busted out laughing so goddamn hard and said, you mean deserts? Yes, they're real. Thinking about it right now got me laughing. I think we should start a petition to change the word to sandlands though. It's pretty good. It's called a department store because there are, wait for it, separate departments within the one store. I had a sudden Clarence moment with that one recently. I only just realized this when I read this, so thanks for the comment. That parents have children write letters to Santa so they can figure out what to buy them for Christmas. I can't believe how I never put that together after 32 years on this earth. I just thought it was fun little tradition. In Sweden we put those letters in the post box with mail headed to the North Pole. I'm in my 50s. I grew up in a rural area north of New York City. I'm a veteran. I'm reasonably intelligent. Reasonably well traveled. I've been hearing and repeating this expression on and off for all of my life. Friend acquaintance 1. Hey. Man, see you soon. Friend acquaintance 2. Not if I see you first. Smirk. It's just within the last few years that I realized that's almost always joking. Kind jab at friend acquaintance 1. It was so ritualized as a way to say goodnight to a buddy that it never occurred to me that it meant that the friend would choose to avoid the other person. I knew a woman who told a story about how she was attending a family gathering and when her dad arrived she said to him as she walked up to give him a hug, "Hey there. Is that a banana in your pocket or are you just happy to see me?" Everybody in the room just looked at her in shock and then burst out laughing. She had heard the expression but just never thought about what it meant, so she thought it was just a quirky way to say hello lol. I'm going to remember this one next time I'm up all night thinking about all the dumb shit I've ever said and done. I'll just go back to this one and remember that it will never be that bad. I didn't know the characters on Family Guy had accents. Live in New England watching with my wife, not from here, and she says wow they really nailed the accents. I say what accents? Blew my mind when she explained not everyone talks like that LMAO. People keep praising the latest Spider-Man for his accurate Queen's accent but I don't hear it. That the Houston Astros name comes from astronauts. And the Baltimore Ravens are because Edgar Allan Poe lived and is buried in Baltimore. Today the radio taught me Mariah Carey wrote and sang All I Want for Christmas Is You. All this time I thought it was just a cover that she did so well. People loved it more than the original. Turns out it is the original. Oh dear. This makes me feel old AF. Because I remember when that song was new. The only person who didn't think I had a drinking problem was me. A car accident resulting in a DUI and court-mandated rehab shined that light on me. Luckily I found out before I killed someone or myself. I've been almost a year clean and feel pretty okay. Edit. Just one detail I didn't mention. I had the car a week and had been saving for it for a year. So basically threw away a year's worth of saved money. And my insurance was bare minimum, so it was a total loss. Cruel and evil was a cruel devil. The word for explorer in Spanish is exploradora. Dora the Explorer at Spanish play in words. Edit. I know it's supposed to be a play on words. It's a typo. I think it's a funny coincidence with the theme of the thread where people are realizing they've been misusing expressions. I'm going to leave it. Also maybe someone did write a Spanish playing words featuring Dora the Explorer.